Hello Year 3, Mrs Thomas here, and I'm going to be reading the next chapter of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which is chapter 21, Goodbye Violet. This gum, Mr Wonka went on, is my latest, my greatest, my most fascinating invention. It's a chewing gum meal. It's that tiny little strip of gum lying there is a whole 3-course dinner all by itself. What sort of nonsense is this? Said one of the fathers. My dear sir, cried Mr Wonka, when I start selling this gum in the shops, it will change everything. It will be the end of all kitchens and all cooking. There'll be no more shopping to do, no more buying of meat and groceries. There'll be no knives and forks at meal times, no plates, no washing up, no rubbish, no mess. Just a little strip of Wonka's magic chewing gum, and that's all you'll ever need at breakfast, lunch and supper. This piece of gum I've made just happens to be tomato soup, roast beef and blueberry pie. But you can have almost anything you want. What do you mean it's tomato soup, roast beef and blueberry pie? Said Violet Beauregarde. If you were to start chewing it, said Mr Wonka, then that is exactly what you would get on the menu. It's absolutely amazing. You can actually feel the food going down your throat and into your tummy, and you can taste it perfectly. And it fills you up, it satisfies you. It's terrific. It's utterly impossible, said Veruca Salt. Just so long as it's gum, shouted Violet Beauregarde. Just so long as it's a piece of gum and I can chew it, then that's for me. And quickly she took her own world record piece of chewing gum out of her mouth and stuck it behind her left ear. Come on, Mr Wonka, she said, hand over the magic gum of yours and we'll see if this thing works. Now, Violet, said Mrs Beauregarde, her mother, don't do anything silly, Violet. I want the gum, said Violet obstinately. What's so silly? I would rather you didn't take it, said Mr Wonka, told her gently. You see, I haven't got it quite right yet. There's still 1 or 2 things. Oh, blazes with that, said Violet, and suddenly, before Mr Wonka could stop her, she shot out a fat hand and grabbed the stick of gum out of the little drawer and popped it into her mouth. At once her huge, well-trained jaws started chewing away on it like a pair of tongs. Don't, said Mr Wonka. Fabulous, shouted Violet. It's tomato soup. It's hot and creamy and delicious. I can feel it running down my throat. Stop, said Mr Wonka. The gum is not ready yet. It's not right. Of course it's right, said Violet. It's working beautifully. Oh my, what a lovely soup this is. Spit it out, said Mr Wonka. It's changing, shouted Violet, chewing and grinning both at the same time. The second course is coming up. Oh, it's roast beef. It's tender and juicy. Oh boy, what a flavour. The baked potato is marvellous too. It's got crispy skin and all filled with butter inside. But how interesting, Violet, said Mrs Beauregarde. You are a clever girl. Keep chewing, baby, said Mr Beauregarde. Keep right on chewing. This is a great day for the Beauregardes. Our little girl is the first person in the world to have a chewing gum meal. Everybody was watching Violet Beauregarde as she stood there chewing this extraordinary gum. Little Bucket was staring at her absolutely spellbound, watching her huge rubbery lips as they pressed and unpressed with the chewing, and Grandpa Joe stood beside him gaping at the girl. Mr Wonka was wringing his hands and saying, No, 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 it isn't ready for eating. It isn't right. You mustn't do it. Blueberry pie and cream, shouted Violet. Here it is. Here it comes. Oh, my. It's perfect. It's beautiful. It's exactly as though I'm swallowing it. It's as though I'm chewing and swallowing great big spoonfuls of the most marvellous blueberry pie in the world. Good heavens, girl, shrieked Mrs Beauregarde, suddenly staring at Violet. What's happening to your nose?